This is Straight Talk, your non-diplomatic talk show, where we bring you incisive and non-diplomatic questioning on issues that border on the growth and development of the African nation. Now, the issue of the Niger Delta and also the petroleum industry have become like a Siamese twins that cannot be separated from the growth and development of the Nigerian states. While in some quarters in Nigeria, they believe that it is their right to control the oil resources in their domain, I'm just talking about the Niger Delta people, others thought that it is a national wealth that should be shared very well. Along the line, there was a struggle in the Niger Delta in a Nigerian state led by some militants, and it ended up by the federal government of Nigeria granting amnesty to those who took up arms against the Nigerian state. Since after that, the issue of insurgency have become one thing that the Nigerian state have learned to live with. Some say it is a fallout of the amnesty granted the Niger Delta militants. So also those called the Boko Haram must also be granted amnesty. I have with me here today to look at this issue an Ijaw fundamentalist, and also some call him a militant leader, though he might not agree with that, but that is the general opinion in the public. I'm talking about Alhaji Mujahid Dokubo Asari. Sir, you're welcome to the show.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. In some quarters in Nigeria, they consider you to be a militant leader because you're one of those who took up arms against the Nigerian state. How do you reconcile this position?
I don't know the meaning of the word militant, so I don't want to dwell on that because I've never bothered to check. It is within my right not to check any words in the English dictionary or lexicon. But my name is Alhaji Mujahid Abubakar Dokubo Asari, Alabe Diabala of Kalabari. At 50 years, I am old enough to know what is good for myself, my family, and my people. In the 80s, we started to rejuvenate and reinvent the Ijaw nation through setting up of different organizations. I started with a Marxist organization, Committee of Collective Conscience. I was a leader of that committee, and then we merged with other organizations that shares the same aspirations with us. First, it was Movement for Survival of Ijaw Ethnic Nationality in the Niger Delta, led by Mr. Tiko Goriba. From there, the Ijaws met, the Ijaws from the west and from the east met at Port Harcourt, and we decided to unify the whole Ijaw movement. So we have the Mimbutus in the west, we have Findik, we have Krimani, we had KYA, we had several organizations. We decided to meet at Akasa and unite the movement to become the Ijaw Youth Council after the Kayama Declaration. The Ijaw Youth Council started with a collegiate leadership. We held our first election on the 12th of June, 1999, at the Kalabari town of Abonima, where an executive council was elected. Felix Todolo became president, I became vice president, I later became deputy president, and I later became president.
Then at what point did the issue of taking arms come in?
The arms struggle has been the tradition of Ijaw people. It is inbuilt in us because if you read Ijaw history, a lot of Nigerians, those who call themselves Nigerians, falsify history. They distort history. They embellish their history. The Ijaws were the only people in Africa that fought the British and defeated the British. No other people in this part of Africa, the Ashantis fought, other people fought, but it was only the Ijaws that fought. The Akasa battle, when the Royal Niger Company was given concessionary right by the British Crown, far away Britain, to usurp Ijaw sovereignty. King Koko of Neme rose and attacked the invaders at Akasa and defeated them.
At what point did you not take arms against your country?
No, not my country. Nigeria is not my country. I am an Ijaw man. I have never chosen to renounce my citizens of the Ijaw nation.
Now, would it be right for people to say then you are an unpatriotic individual if you deny the country you belong to? Ijaw is a constituent of the Nigerian nation.
No. That's not true, my brother. Allow me to give you the historical antecedent. Nations are built by people, not by force. The Ijaw nation were made up of different city-states. King Jaja of Opopo fought against the British. He was strict and taken to Virgin Island. There are so many Ijaw kings. King Imanijuka of Okrika did the same thing. He was taken to Calabar and put in prison. King Pepo of Bonny was deported to Great Britain. He went to England. He was in London. So Ijaw kings resisted. Ijaw elites resisted the imposition of British rule. In 1923, the Ijaw people, the Oyi River chiefs and people, sent a delegation to London to fight and complain against the imposition of colonial rule on Ijaw people in 1922.
So your grouse is the imposition of the colonial rule?
Yes. They went, not only that, look, let's show historical and clear historical fact what the Ijaws have done to clearly demonstrate that they are not Nigerian.
Sorry, are you speaking for the Ijaw nation or are you speaking for yourself?
As a former president of the Ijaw Youth Council, which was the premier organization of the Ijaw people, elected by Ijaw people, I have an authority to speak for the generality of what the Ijaw people believe. And these are historical, they are documented here and abroad.
But as at now, you do not have the mandate to speak for them. I'm saying this because I want to bring up something that is Alhaji Mujahid speaking for himself, that he is not...
Excuse me, I am giving you historical facts. So you build on these historical facts to draw your conclusion, whether I am speaking for the Ijaw people or not. These are historical facts. You can go to your history books and search. Make the relevant searches. In 1923, a delegation was sent to the colonial office to demand by the Ijaw people that they never surrender their sovereignty to Great Britain. What the Ijaw kingdoms of New Calabar, Grand Bonny, Nembe Brass did was to sign treaties with the British Crown. They never ceded. They never ceded their sovereignty to Britain, like, for example, Lagos ceded a sovereignty to Britain. The Sokoto Caliphate was defeated. Sultan Atairu was killed by the British. Arochukwu was defeated in 1903. Bini was defeated in 18-something. All these kingdoms were defeated. And Abeokuta, look, Nigerians don't know their history, and they don't. People hold the history of our people. Do you know that Abeokuta was not, the Egba Federation was not part of Nigeria until 1923, after the amalgamation?
The state in Nigeria called Bayelsa, is it dominated by Ijaws or not?
When you ask this question, excuse me.
Just answer my question.
No. It cannot be black and white. There was white apartheid rule in South Africa. Does it make Mandela?
The state in Bayelsa, is it dominated by Ijaw?
It is an occupied Ijaw territory by the Nigerian state. The Nigerian state is occupying Bayelsa, which they call a Batustan, which they created for administrative convenience to administer people.
So the pipeline vandalization, is it a way of getting attention of the Nigerian state?
Nobody is getting any attention of Nigerian state. Nobody. If some people are doing that, okay.
But your people did that in the Niger Delta.
Not my people. There are different groups. In every struggle, there are revolutionaries and counter-revolutionaries.
The group you benefited from, are they the revolutionaries or the counter-revolutionaries?
The wealth of the people belongs to them. And they have the right to take their wealth in any way and use it in any way they want.
Under the laws of the land.
Which law?
The laws of
the apartheid law of the Nigerian state that gives somebody from Madugri oil well in Ikube, that gives somebody from Sokoto oil well in Po, that he should come to Ogoni land and take the oil of Ogoni people because it is Nigeria.
You seem to be against the knowledge of the commonwealth of the people.
What is commonwealth, my brother?
What is owned by everyone.
How can it be owned? What is the relationship between me and a German and an Hausa man? What is the relationship between me and a German and an Igbo man? What brings us together? How are we related?
It has become a growing trend in Africa. You have insurgency in everywhere, in Mali, in Somalia, in every part of Africa. Do you subscribe to this insurgents group rising or becoming terrorists and groups?
My dear brother, I don't know what you mean by terrorists. That in the 1800-something, some European merchants sat down in Berlin and balkanized Africa as if we were meat to be sold after they slaughter a cow. They balkanized Africa. And it is very shameful for you to accept that Europeans sat in Berlin in a conference they called the Berlin Conference and start to balkanize Africa. And now said, listen to me please, this is where we get it wrong, that you accept an evil. These Europeans balkanized Africa and decided that Africa, some people should become Belgian territory, some people should become British territory, some people should become German territory, some people should become Portuguese territory, Spanish territory. This is an evil. Why did it not take place in Europe? Why did they not balkanize Europe for themselves? Why should it be Africa? Why should it be South America? Why should it be Asia? This is racial supremacist sitting down. This is apartheid. And this is the root of the problem. Because when you take a Tuareg who is not under the Mali Empire or the Songhai Empire and say he's a Malian, Peter Toshobo Mali said, how can you call me a name that is not my name? Or in the Bible, by the rivers of Babylon, where we sat down, and there we wail when we remember Zion. That we are compelled to speak a language. For the wicked, carrying us away captivity, required from our song. How can we sing the Lord God's song in a strange land?
Alaji, let me still go back to this issue of the insurgency in Africa. I asked a question.
Yes.
The Tuareg in Mali, the other parts of Africa where you have terrorist groups springing up, insurgents groups springing up.
Yes.
In Nigeria where you have insurgents springing up, Boko Haram.
Yes.
You said you subscribe to the activities.
As long as it is for the purpose of self-determination, which is the inalienable right of all people, according to the UN Declaration of People's Rights. It's an inalienable right of all people. The African Declaration of People's Rights clearly states that every human being has a right to self-determination.
And that should be done?
Yes, it can be done.
In respect of the rights to life of other people.
There is no way when Nigeria has a military that says an Ijaw man should not be an Ijaw man, it should become Wazobia. That my child cannot speak Ijaw again. That Nigeria recognizes 4 languages. English, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba. They call it Wazobia. That means an Ijaw man has no right to speak my language. When the UN, through our agencies, is struggling to preserve all languages in Nigeria, the constitution of Nigeria is trying to extinguish languages they consider not national.
Now, can't you see there's a problem somewhere if people of like minds with you subscribe to this insurgents group that they have a right to self-determination? Don't you think that the African nation is endangered?
It is greed. The root of it is greed. There are nations in this world that are less than 20,000 people in the Caribbean. Their population is less than 20,000. If Ogoni people says, we the Ogoni people have decided to be an Ogoni nation, nobody has the right to tell them to become Nigerians.
Let me try and understand your position. Now, over time, there was this struggle in the Niger Delta in Nigeria, and there was this issue of amnesty granted to the Niger Deltans, to the militants. Amnesty granted.
But that question is not meant for me because I'm not a militant. I'm not a recipient.
So your kinsmen, they were granted amnesty.
So if somebody, my kinsman is an armed robber,
and you benefited from it?
How? If my kinsman is an armed robber and my kinsman is pardoned, me too, I am pardoned? If the government, after sentencing my kinsman who is an armed robber to death, decide now to pardon him, so you now come to me and say, because I am an Ijaw man, and Ijaw man is an armed robber, he has been pardoned, so me too have been granted pardon from armed robbery? A group of people were bribed with money that the government wants Ijaw oil to flow, want the Chekri oil to flow, want Orobo oil to flow, want Igbo oil to flow. And all of a sudden, they decided, why don't we bribe them part of the money? And they bribe them. Because first, there is no law in Nigeria that gives power to Yaradua to grant anybody a pardon who has not been convicted in any court of law.
The president has right to grant amnesty.
It cannot. It's wrong. It's illegal. It is fraudulent. There is nothing called amnesty. We went to court. We took the Nigerian state to court. That the Nigerian government does not have the right to...
In what capacity did you take?
I took the Nigerian government to court because I came from an area where Yaradua sat down in Abuja and decided that he's going to grant pardon to some people. So I went to court for the court to interpret whether me, Alhaji Dokbo Asari Alawe Diabali of the Kingdom of Calabar is also included in that is award. And the court refused to sit. We have been compelling the court to sit, to interpret, because there is no law. The law is very clear. Government can give pardon to people who have been convicted. Or what they do, if I have a case, like me, I have a treason on my head in court. The treason charges are still on my head. What the government do is to put nolli prosecute, to stop prosecuting me. These are the only two ways government can clear somebody of crimes. But what Yaradua did is outside the law. But Nigeria creates law where there is no law.
Okay, now we'll go on break now, and when we come back, we'll still be talking about the issue of the petroleum industry in Nigeria. You're welcome back. Now, if you're just joining us, I've been speaking with Alhaji Dokubo Asari, an Ijaw fundamentalist. He would not like me to call him a former militant. Now, let's go back to this issue where we left off from. Say, talking about this issue of the militants. Now, in the course of talking in the last session, you said that the Tuareg in Mali, that they are not terrorists. Did you say they are not terrorists?
One person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter.
But by international law, the activities constitute terrorism.
International law?
There are laws that guide our daily activities.
No, you cannot enact laws that do not originate from the people. The laws must originate from the people. The people must consent to be under that law. You cannot sit down in New York and legislate for the people of Asari in Ijaw land. Asari in the deep swamp of Ijaw land. The man sitting in New York.
So you rather call them, you rather call them militants?
For me, there is a thin line There are people, criminals, who cash on the people's right because the people are fighting, because there's a situation of unrest and anarchy. These people go hiding under the people, legitimate struggle to perpetuate criminal activities. That is possible. In our struggle, there are people like that.
So by your definition, who is a terrorist?
A terrorist is somebody who kills for the purpose of drawing attention to himself.
Okay, let me just bring this.
Yes.
Do you see that trait in the Boko Haram in Nigeria?
Yes, it's there.
So you agree they are terrorists?
There might be.
You just defined it now.
No, there might be Boko Haram terrorists. All Boko Haram, whatever they call themselves, might not be terrorists.
I don't understand. Are you making a demarcation?
There is a demarcation. In our Niger Delta struggle, there is a terrorist called Emioka. Who is a terrorist? Who people like us were shouting before the government realized. Have been shouting. My publications are there that this fellow is a terrorist.
Okay. Now let me also take you to a statement made by an Islamic leader in Nigeria, the chief of Sokoto, the Sultan of Sokoto. He did say, he talked about amnesty for the Boko Haram.
I support him totally. If some people who carried guns...
but your kinsman, the president, also said he's in disagreement that he cannot grant...
I cannot always agree with Goodluck, Ebele, Azikiwe, my brother.
Is the Nigerian president wrong in his stand?
Yes, he is wrong in this instance. Because if they award amnesty to some people in the Niger Delta, then there is nothing stopping awarding amnesty to any other people.
So you agree? So you agree that the struggle in the Niger Delta and also by the Boko Haram are similar?
They might not be similar, my brother. They might not. But if the fundamentals of their struggle is self-determination, then it's similar. In the Niger Delta, there are some people who are struggling for their pocket. Some are struggling for their stomach. Some are struggling for resource control. Some are struggling for governors to have more funds. Okay, let me finish. Let me finish because this thing, a lot of people don't get it. There are some people like us who are struggling for the independence.
And who also benefited from the entire struggle.
There is no benefit, my brother.
Now, let me read to you a statement made by one of your kinsmen. You know the Okrika youth movement?
Okay, there is no such youth movement, so forget about it.
Do you know Anthony Amieyefori, the secretary?
You can call him for an interview so that we'll know him if he's not a ghost.
Because he made a statement concerning you.
He can make.
That you are one of those who are struggling for your own selfish reason, that your own struggle is a selfish struggle.
Look, let me tell you, my brother, don't insult me. I am here in an interview and know my pedigree. If it's my kinsman, he's a woman being, call him, grant him an interview. Let him state where I benefited from the struggle. So if you look at it, if I had not been in the struggle, choosing the struggle, it's like referring to Mandela. He became president. Excuse me, please. Don't get it wrong. You people play with serious things.
Chief, let me go to this issue made recently by one senator, Senator Itai Enang, on the floor of the Senate. He alleged that about 83% of the oil wealth are owned by Northerners. The oil license is owned by Northerners. And how will you react to such a revelation coming from a senator?
How can you? What sort of injustice? What sort of corruption? That you, I don't know where you are from, that in your village, somebody will be sent from Ibadan to come to your village and take the resources from your village. He's not taking it alone. When he's taking it, he discharges toxic waste that harm the environment, degrade the environment, that kills the environment. He pollutes the air that you breathe. New sicknesses, acidic rain, all sort of things comes with it. When I talk, I'm fighting for my stomach, but somebody from Mina who lives on an hilltop should sign a paper and give it to one seamstress, tailor, woman, what do they call woman? Tailor. That a tailor who sews clothes for his wife should be awarded oil blocks, and she become the richest black woman in the world for doing nothing.
How do we move forward? How do we go forward from here?
First and foremost, we must go to a round table, a sovereign national conference, that Britain brought all of us together. We don't want to fight. We don't want to kill each other. Boko Haram, don't kill people again. Other people don't kill. Let all of us come together. OPC, everybody come and sit down. Ijaw people, do you want to be in Nigeria? We say, no. I beg. We no one fight. Ijaw go. Ishekiri people, do you want to be in Nigeria? I say, yes. Ishekiri people, Nadeya, not be Nigeria. Ogoni people, do you want to be in Nigeria? They say, no. Ogoni people, go your way. It is not novel to Nigeria. It has happened.
No,
wait. It has happened in Ethiopia. Ethiopia sat down in a sovereign national conference. And they say, oh yeah, let us talk. Eritrea say, we don't want to be Ethiopia. Oh yeah, Eritrea go. Eritrea left.
Do you see the Nigerian leadership being capable of doing that, bringing about it?
That is the greed we are talking about and the selfishness. Me, I no want be Nigeria. Me, Dokubo Asari, I no want be Nigeria. I be John man. I be.
Alhaji, thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Thank you.
You've had it all from Alhaji Mujahid Dokubo Asari. Thank you so much for being part of this edition of Straight Talk. My name remains Eshomomo Imodu. Bye-bye.